The Whitechapel murders terrorized London's East End in the autumn of 1888. Attributed to the unidentified Jack the Ripper, these brutal killings remain one of history's most infamous unsolved crime sprees. The gruesome nature of the murders and the killer's ability to evade capture created a climate of fear and suspicion. The murders exposed the dark underbelly of Victorian society, highlighting the plight of the poor and vulnerable. The name Jack the Ripper originated from a letter sent to the Central News Agency, claiming responsibility for the killings. The Whitechapel murders remain a chilling reminder of the human capacity for violence and the vulnerability of those living on the margins of society. To understand the Whitechapel murders, we must first understand the district in which they occurred. In the late 19th century, Whitechapel was notorious for its poverty, crime, and vice. Overcrowding was rampant, with families crammed into dilapidated tenement buildings. Women faced limited opportunities and were often forced into prostitution to make ends meet. Alcoholism was widespread, offering a temporary escape from the harsh realities of life in Whitechapel. In this environment of poverty and desperation, a climate of fear and vulnerability flourished, providing fertile ground for the Whitechapel tragedies to unfold. While the canonical 5 victims of Jack the Ripper are the most well-known, other murders occurred in Whitechapel around the same time. One such case was the murder of Emma Elizabeth Smith on April 3, 1888. Smith, a woman known to engage in prostitution, was brutally attacked on Osborne Street and succumbed to her injuries the following day. Another significant case was the murder of Martha Tabram on August 7, 1888, found stabbed to death in George Yard Building. While some similarities exist between these murders and the later Ripper killings, their connection remains debated. Regardless of their connection to Jack the Ripper, the murders of Smith and Tabram serve as grim reminders of the dangers faced by women in Whitechapel's underbelly. The canonical 5 are the murders most definitively attributed to Jack the Ripper. These 5 women, Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes and Mary Jane Kelly, were all murdered within a 3-month period, plunging Whitechapel into a state of terror. The first victim, Mary Ann Nichols, was discovered on August 31, 1888 in Bucks Row, her throat slashed and abdomen mutilated. Just a week later, Annie Chapman was found murdered in the backyard of a tenement building on Hanbury Street. The close proximity of the murders, both in time and location, intensified the fear gripping Whitechapel. The murders of Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes on September 30, 1888, marked a terrifying escalation in the Ripper's spree. Stride was found with her throat cut on Dutfield's Yard, but her body was otherwise unmarked. Eddowes was discovered just 45 minutes later on Mitre Square, her throat slashed and face mutilated. The double murder committed within such a short time frame demonstrated the killer's audacity and bloodlust. The final victim attributed to Jack the Ripper was Mary Jane Kelly, found brutally murdered in her room on Miller's Court on November 9, 1888. The sheer savagery of Kelly's murder sent shockwaves through London and beyond, cementing Jack the Ripper's place in criminal history. The Whitechapel murders sparked a massive investigation by the London Metropolitan Police. The police faced immense pressure to catch the killer and restore order to the East End. However, the investigation was hampered by the lack of modern forensic techniques, the dense and impoverished nature of Whitechapel, and a deluge of false leads. The police conducted door-to-door inquiries, interviewed thousands of potential witnesses, and offered a reward for information leading to the arrest of the perpetrator. The police also relied on newly emerging forensic techniques, such as fingerprinting, but these methods were still in their infancy. The investigation was further complicated by the sensationalized reporting of the murders in the press. Newspapers often published inaccurate or exaggerated accounts of the murders, fueling public fear and speculation. Despite their best efforts, the police were unable to identify or apprehend Jack the Ripper. The killer seemed to vanish as quickly as he had appeared, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. The Whitechapel murders exposed the limitations of Victorian policing and highlighted the need for more sophisticated investigative techniques. Throughout the Whitechapel Murders investigation, the police received a flood of letters, many claiming to be from the killer himself. The most infamous of these is the From Hell letter, received by George Lusk, the chairman of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee. This letter, accompanied by a small box containing half a human kidney, was written in a chillingly casual tone and signed From Hell. Another notable letter is the Dear Boss letter, sent to the Central News Agency, signed Jack the Ripper. The Whitechapel Murders investigation yielded a long list of suspects, each with their own potential motives and connections to the crimes. Despite extensive investigation, no conclusive evidence ever linked any suspect to the murders, leaving the door open to endless speculation and debate. While the canonical 5 murders are the most widely recognized, the Whitechapel Murders file includes several other murders that occurred in the area between 1888 and 1891. One such case is the murder of Rose Millet on December 20th, 1888, found strangled in Poplar. Another notable case is the murder of Alice Mackenzie on July 17th, 1889, found murdered in Castle Alley, Whitechapel. The inclusion of these murders in the Whitechapel Murders file highlights the difficulty of definitively attributing crimes to a single perpetrator in the absence of conclusive evidence. It also serves as a stark reminder of the dangers faced by women living and working in Whitechapel's underbelly. The investigation into these additional murders faced similar challenges to the canonical 5, with a lack of witnesses, limited forensic techniques, and a climate of fear hindering police efforts. The Whitechapel murders cast a long shadow over Victorian England. The case exposed the dark underbelly of Victorian society, highlighting the plight of the poor and vulnerable. One of the most significant impacts of the Whitechapel murders was the development and adoption of more sophisticated investigative techniques. The case highlighted the need for better crime scene preservation, more systematic methods of interviewing witnesses, and the importance of forensic evidence. Beyond their impact on policing, the Whitechapel murders had a profound cultural impact, inspiring a wave of fictional accounts and reflecting broader anxieties about class, gender, and the dark side of human nature. The enduring fascination with the Whitechapel murders speaks to the power of unsolved mysteries to capture the imagination. More than a century after the Whitechapel murders, the case continues to fascinate and intrigue people around the world. The identity of Jack the Ripper remains one of the most enduring mysteries in criminal history, with countless theories and speculations put forward over the years. The lack of a definitive answer, combined with the gruesome nature of the crimes and the social context in which they occurred, ensures that the Whitechapel murders will continue to fascinate and horrify for generations to come. New theories emerge regularly, each claiming to have uncovered the true identity of Jack the Ripper. While some theories have gained more traction than others, none have been able to definitively solve the mystery. The Whitechapel murders stand as a testament to the enduring power of mystery and the human fascination with the dark side of human nature.